Welcome back everyone. We've already crossed section B, question 2.1 and got those 9 marks in the bag. Now we are moving into question 2.2, which is all about enzymes and how they react to their environment. This part of the paper usually involves tables or a graph, and it is a gold mine for marks if you know what you are looking for. Let's dive deep into this investigation on pH and enzyme activity. Part 5. Enzymes and Graphs, question 2.2. Take a look at the table provided in your paper. It shows how enzymes activity changes as the pH levels go from 6.0 all the way to 9.0. Question 2.2.1. What is the optimum pH for functioning of this enzyme? The optimum pH is 7.5. Why is that? Well, the word optimum is just a fancy scientific way of saying the absolute best. To find this, you just have to look at the enzyme activity percentage column in your table and find the highest number. The highest activity is 98%. And if you look across the pH column, that happens to be exactly at pH 7.5. The reason is that enzymes are very picky. They have a specific sweet spot where they work the fastest before the environment becomes too acidic or too alkaline for them. Question 2.2.2. Identify the A dependent variable and B independent variable. The answer is A, dependent variable, enzyme activity, and B, independent variable, pH. The reason for this is all about who is in control. The independent variable is the one the scientists choose to change to see what happens. In this case, the scientists decided to test the different levels of pH. So that the independent variable is what changes in the investigation. And in this particular investigation, what changed was the pH. The dependent variable is what we are measuring as a result. Here, we are measuring how the enzyme activity reacts to those pH changes. So, the dependent variable is what is being measured, and in this case what is being measured is the enzyme activity percentages. A quick tip for the exam: in a table, the independent variable is almost always in the first column in most cases, okay? And how do you see this? You see that it changes, okay? And the dependent variable is what is mostly in the second column, what is being measured because of the changes. Question 2.2.3. Use the information provided on the table to draw a line graph to present the results of this investigation, okay? So if you need to learn how to draw a line graph, I have created a short video of a line graph, how to draw a line graph, and there's also another one on how to draw a bar graph. So in that case, please check out that short video for more details. Okay, it's in the playlist of the scientific investigations. So how do we build this? Think of it as connecting dots in the puzzle. Okay, so we start with the labels. You must put pH on the bottom x-axis. Okay, so pH is on the x-axis and the enzyme activity, the percentages, is on the y-axis. Okay, so the x-axis is the pH, which is the independent variable. The y-axis is the enzyme activity, which is the dependent variable. Okay. The scale, how to scale up your graph. Your numbers must go for the y-axis, okay? your numbers must go in equal steps always. So you can count in twos, 2, 4, 6. You can count in fives, 5, 10, 15. You can count in ones, but it must be in equal steps every time for the y-axis. So in this case, if we look at the numbers here, we have a lot of numbers up until 98, which means counting in twos will be too much to draw your line graph. Counting in 5 also is a stretch, okay? But you can count in 5s, but I think it's going to be a long graph. You can also count in 10s. So in this case, just to make my life easier, I am going to count in 20s, okay, which is also an equal step. So 0, 20, 40, okay, 60, 80, 100. So you're going to count like that in 20s. It's like counting in twos, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. But 20, 0, you have to start with the 0, 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 for your y-axis, okay? And then for the x-axis, plot your pH units as they are. In this case, you do not have to create other units. Just plot them as they are. Okay, so now let's start with plotting your graph, okay? So we have written our y-axis and our x-axis scale, okay? So now let's plot the graph, which is putting points in order to draw your full line graph, okay? So how do we plot your graph? So we're going to start with the 6 pH, okay? So because it's the first number. So if we look at the 6.0 pH, we have to look for the 3 on the y-axis, okay? So from the axis, we're starting with 6.0, y-axis, we have to estimate the 3, okay? So after estimating the 3, you're going to plot where they meet, okay? From the y-axis to the x-axis where it meets on 3. You're going to plot there. And then next one is the 6.5 pH, and then you're going to plot the dot 20, and so on and so forth, okay, to plot your graph. And then the next part is the title. Don't forget to give us a title, or to write your title. You can write something like line graph showing the effect of pH on enzyme activity, okay? So remember, the graph title should be on the top of your graph. Always in life sciences, our graph titles are on the top of the graph. Okay. Question 2.2.4, list 2 ways in which the reliability of this investigation could be increased. Okay, this is a very tricky question. I think most learners do not get these 2 marks. Okay, so how can this investigation be a reliability? Okay, the answer is increase sample size and repeat the investigation. Okay, so 2 ways in which the reliability of this investigation could be increased is to increase sample size or repeat the investigation. And repeat, because it's not an on option, okay? The reason we do this is to make sure the results weren't just lucky gems, okay? Weren't just lucky guesses or one-time mistake. Repeating the investigation means doing the whole experiment again to see if you get the same results, okay? And increasing the sample size means testing more enzymes at the same time. Why is that important? Because if only we test something once, it could be a fluke, okay? But if you do it 100 times and get the same answer, you can be much more confident that your results are reliable. Okay, So you guys are doing amazing. We've tackled mitosis and enzymes graphs. If you want more explanation on the question 2.2.3 and 2.2.4, please check out the playlist for scientific investigation, scientific skills. You're going to get all the videos related to scientific skills there. Okay. You guys are doing amazing again. Thank you for being with me until now. If you find this explanation clear, don't forget to hit the like button, please, as it helps the channel. Please subscribe, those of y'all who haven't subscribed. Please comment if you need extra assistance or have extra questions. And please share these videos to other learners who might need it. It helps the channel. So in our next segment, we will finish off the rest of the paper and do section B, question 3. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.